TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israel approves further easing of previously imposed restrictions on the Israeli public as part of its efforts to avoid the deepening of an economic crisis of devastating proportions. The European Union's foreign policy chief, Josep Borrell, published a statement in which he claimed that the 27-member bloc regards any annexation of disputed territories by Israel as a serious violation of international law. The United Nations Security Council held an inflammatory meeting in which the world body joined global condemnations for the prospects of Israeli annexation of the West Bank. The Israeli Health Ministry released its latest accumulated data vis-à-vis the unyielding spread of the corona contagion, confirming yet another surge of 641 cases, which consequently raises the total number of afflicted individuals throughout the Jewish state to 14,882, of whom 139 are diagnosed in critical condition. I'm sad to report that as of 9 o'clock this morning, another 2 Israelis succumbed to the corona disease, raising the total number of victims to 191. In contrast, I'm glad to report that another 351 Israelis have been healed from the contagion, raising the total number of Israelis healed to 5,685. Meanwhile, the Jerusalem cabinet, under the directives of Premier Benjamin Netanyahu, approved further easing of previously imposed restrictions on the Israeli public as part of the government's efforts to combat the dire economic and social implications that emerged in light of the corona crisis. As part of its decision, the cabinet approved the reopening of all street stores and barber shops so long as they can accommodate the still in effect restrictions of social distancing, in addition to related health ministry guidelines. Turning now to Brussels, where the European Union's foreign policy chief, Josep Borrell, published a statement in which he claimed that the 27-member bloc regards any annexation by Israel of disputed territories as a serious violation of international law. According to his statement, the European Union's position on the status of the territories occupied by Israel in 1967 remains unchanged. Borrell further insists that in line with international law and relevant UN Security Council resolutions, the European Union does not recognize Israeli sovereignty over the occupied West Bank. The top European diplomat concluded his statement by emphasizing that the European Union will continue to closely monitor the situation and its broader implications and will act accordingly. The EU foreign policy chief's statement was apparently made in response to related remarks that were made by U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo a day prior, in which he asserted that the Israelis will ultimately make the decision vis-à-vis annexation of the West Bank territories. While Israeli officials did not immediately respond to the statement made by the top American diplomat, Jerusalem's foreign minister, Israel Katz, did not shy away from condemning his EU counterpart, who evidently opts to see the relations between Israel and the European Union solely through the narrow prisms of the coronavirus and the status of the referred to territories. It is important to mention that the EU foreign policy chief failed to secure support from EU member states for the purpose of releasing his statement as a unified European position. Instead, the man who strives to lead the foreign relations of the European Union was forced to release the statement in his own name, to which Israel's top diplomat responded, "I thank our friends in Europe who opposed Mr. Borrell's announcement and prevented the adoption of this text by the European Union." Minister Katz went on to highlight that the states that support Jerusalem within the European Union are the ones that recognize the value of their relations with Israel, and together with them, the Jewish state will continue to advance Israel-EU relations. Now to a related matter, in addition to the EU institutions' belligerent statement against prospects of Israeli annexation of large parts of their ancestral homeland, including the Jordan Valley and the biblical districts of Judea and Samaria, the United Nations has seized the opportunity to condemn prospects of Israeli sovereignty over the West Bank, which it claims undermines the chances for peace. During a video conference of the World Body's Security Council, the UN Special Representative for the Mideast Peace Process, Nikolai Mladenov, referred to the prospect of Israeli annexation of the West Bank as a growing threat, which he termed as dangerous.
The dangerous prospect of annexation by Israel of parts of the occupied West Bank is a growing threat. If such a move were implemented, it would constitute a serious violation of international law, deal a devastating blow to the two-state solution, close the door to a renewal of negotiations, and threaten efforts to advance regional peace.
The UN envoy further seized the opportunity to urge both Israel and the Palestinians to reject unilateral move which the world body believes will only deepen the wedge between the two peoples.
The recognition of this interdependence, if there is political will, can translate into tangible progress towards resolving the conflict. I strongly urge Israeli and Palestinian leaders to seize this moment to take steps towards peace, to reject unilateral moves that will only deepen the wedge between the two peoples and undermine the chances of peace.
The exceptionally inflammatory meeting of the most important council of the United Nations granted the Palestinian representative the stage to voice his entity's own condemnation of the Jewish state. Ambassador Riyad Mansour exploited the stage to list a long, troubling list of alleged violations that, according to him, were perpetrated by Israel against the Palestinian people, which culminated in the accusation of Jerusalem's plan to assert its sovereignty over lands the majority of the international community have evidently predetermined as earmarked for Palestinian statehood.
Regrettably, however, even the extreme challenges posed by this pandemic to all have not convinced the occupying power to stop its crimes. Instead, Israel carries on with its illegal policies and practices, business as usual. Wherever technical coordination has been achieved between the two sides in recent weeks to combat COVID-19 has been undercut by incessant violations. This is not politicization of the matter, as alleged by the Israeli representative. These are the hard facts. I repeat, the hard facts. Most flagrant of these violations has been Israel's annexation push.
In response to those statements, the Israeli ambassador to the United Nations, Dani Danon, condemned the world body for the long list of shameless lies against the Jewish state.
Your accusations are not only shameless lies, they are anti-Semitic. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should apologize for what you have said and what you have wrote. You have made it clear that you prefer to hate Israel more than help the Palestinian people.
The Israeli diplomat further condemned the Palestinian representative for his incessant efforts to incite the world against Israel at a time when Jerusalem offers significant assistance to the Palestinians for the purpose of combating the spread of the corona contagion.
They happily accept any and all assistance from Israel and expect it to continue even as they incite against us and spread anti-Semitic libel. This outrageous and destructive behavior cannot and will not be tolerated.
Thank you for watching us. As part of TV7's Global Prayer Initiative, I would like to encourage you to join myself and the team here in Jerusalem to pray today for the peace and salvation of South Africa, alongside our ongoing prayers for the peace of Jerusalem, the peace and salvation of Israel, as well as for all those who are impacted by the corona contagion worldwide. Furthermore, I would like to thank all of our partners for your continued support, both through prayers as well as financially, as your contributions allow our TV7 Israel productions to continue spreading truth to all nations around the world. And last but not least, sending you all blessings for Shabbat Shalom and Erev Tov. I'm Jonathan Hessen, and I will see you again on Monday at the same time.